For You podcast, and you're here with your host, Cassandra Lauren Gordon. And today I'm here with
Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah,
Okay,
my name is
great.
Jessica.
Just say it one more for the people in the back, because I think something happened with the sound.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm here with
Jessica.
great. Your full name, Jessica,
Jessica Cole.
and you're part of
Roccia Jewellery. Yeah. So
okay.
basically, it's a small jewelry brand where I focus on African culture and African jewelry. Some of the stuff are handmade, some of it are just like beads and things like that. Yeah, so it's basically a celebration of African culture.
Great. Yeah, because I've looked on your website and it seems like you have a really good passion for jewelry and hand making, and this
Yeah.
seems to be like your calling. And I've done a bit of research on your website. You're London based. You cater to both
Yeah.
men and women. Your strong passion for jewelry and art, and for your own jewelry line. And it's all made by you, which is great. A lot of people don't make their own jewelry. And you want to celebrate African culture. You're a young second generation Sierra Leonean. I don't have to say that.
Yeah.
Could you help me out?
Sierra Leonean.
Sierra Leonean. I never heard like the name of that, right? So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. And every piece of jewelry comes with this information on its cultural importance for those who love to know more about African culture. Okay, so walk me through your ethos of why is it important to show the culture importance and spread more love to about African culture?
I think because so for me, growing up in London as a second generation Sierra Leonean, like when I was younger, it was like if you're different, if you're African, especially if you're African, actually, growing up in a majority white school, like it was almost as if you couldn't be proud and you couldn't show it, and you couldn't show, yes, I'm from Africa and this is where I'm from, this is what I'm about, this is what my culture's about, this is what my family's about. And like even in society as well, it's almost as if you have to like dull it and have to conform to what more like Western appeals and things like that. So I felt like it was important to have something where we can celebrate ourselves and we can celebrate where we come from, but also in a way that is slightly different to our parents. So obviously they, you know, if they were born there, they have it to the core almost. But because we have that slight Western and also modern take on it, so it's like a celebration of African culture, but also with a slightly modern twist, something that the young people would like to wear and like to celebrate as well. So it has the two different sides. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So can you tell me more about how, as you can see, but we're both black women, but you know, how can you tell me more about like how sometimes, you know, sometimes the more Western dominant influences kind of hampers down on people's cultures? Can you talk about a bit like that and growing up and stuff like that?
Yeah. So for example, if I go back to school, for example, and if you went to school or even at work with like nice braids or locks or something like that, like a proper black like type hairstyle, you know, there will always be someone, whether it be a school or work, who has some comment to say that either they might not want to come across as racist or might not want to try and you know, patronize you or anything like that. But some of the comments that they say, like, oh, how do you do that? And they try and touch and some things like that. It's like, and it might make some people not want to show that side and not want to show, oh, you know, I'm proud of my braids or I'm proud of my locks or anything. So sometimes you just have to have that confidence and be like, you know what, it doesn't really matter. I can do it. You know, it's something that I'm proud of. And when you show that you're proud of it, they'll sit down and they'll be quiet. But sometimes it can be difficult because especially if you're like the only Black person in a school or in a class, or only Black person in your office, and there's no one there to back you up and be like, oh no, her hair's great, her hair is, you know, I have the same hair, our hair is beautiful, blah blah blah. And people make these comments, and it's insensitive comments, and like I said, they might not always try to harm you in any way, but it can have an effect on you. And
Yeah, that chimes in with lots of people, you know, when people chiming in or on your difference, it's highlighting your difference.
yeah,
And it has negative effects. Probably, I'm not saying for you, I'm just talking about my own life. And probably,
mm,
like, you know, it could cause it, for me, I could talk for me, a lot of anxiety, because sometimes if I
yeah,
change my brace, oh my God, what are people gonna say? I got to change this, I
exactly.
got to hide that, I can't do this, the teacher will say something, and then I've got to
Mm,
deal with these and you know, your braids are in for like for 2 months. So I've got to deal with, you know, every day on
yeah,
that. And also, like, you know, I've just done, was it last year, a campaign with Pantene and other,
mm,
you know, Afro visibility charities, talking about hair discrimination. And it just chimes in
yeah,
with that. People don't realize the effects. Some people are like, oh my God, it's only black hair. Everyone says anything. Someone's ginger and someone's this and that. No, 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 no. It's not the same. It is not
not
the
the same,
same.
exactly.
It's not
Mm,
the same when someone's really making you feel awkward about your difference, you
yeah,
know. And I'm not being funny. Some people who are, I might get flat for this, who are might have red strawberry hair, they can change their hair color and they still look ethnically
mm,
white or, you know, British.
yeah,
But we can't do that as black women, and, you
mm,
know, and live an ordinary life. So yeah, I have so much empathy and commonality with this, and, you know, and embracing that. So I feel like you're like a bit, I'm just so proud of like your jewelry brand, because I felt like when I started in jewelry, I couldn't embrace my heritage, because when I tried, I got people like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, I wanted to do like an Aki or something, going homage to my Jamaican heritage, and be like, don't
mm,
do that. You won't sell. Don't do that. No, don't. And
mm,
I stupidly believed them early in my jewelry career, and I purposely tried to be as neutral. I did like a space
mm,
collection. I tried to do other things, and, you know, and I feel like now after last year, I'm just like, I just don't care. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
yeah,
And so yeah, when I see brands like you, like, you know what, this is who I am. Brace cultural relevance. It's just really heartwarming, and I wish I had
mm,
the. I was gonna say the ball. I wish I had the ovaries back then, just to embrace it and just not cared what people say. But you know, here we
yeah,
are.
yeah.
So yeah. So could you tell me more about, you know, your creative process? So okay, we got the ethos of, you know, where you are, but talk us through like the creativity from, like, I don't know, from like the sketching or to the making and
Mm.
the hand making and to the finished product.
Okay, so I actually don't do that much sketching.
Okay.
Sometimes I would sketch something to see how it looks, but most of the time I like to put things together and see what it looks like then, and then be like, no, I like it. Maybe I'll add something else. Like if it's beads, for example, I might put some different beads in and say, you know what, I actually like this color better, so I'll change it up. And because I like to work through looking at things and through using my hands and working through it. So I've also done like quite a lot of research on different materials and things that for that are used in African jewelry. So like the bone beads that I use, some brass, and things like that. So once I've done the research, I always look at pictures and say, oh, you know, can I make something that looks like this, or can I have use these pictures as an influence and things like that. So I also look to see what I can, you know, how I can design my jewelry. And but yeah, mostly I don't sketch, which is funny.
Which is
I think a
fine. I
lot
mean,
of
everyone has
people,
their
a lot of
processes.
jewelers do
I'm
sketch. Mm,
because until I did more precious jewelry, I didn't sketch. I did when I started out in jewelry, I did
yeah.
beads, I did perspex jewelry, I did resin, and
Mm,
I just like figured it out, rapid
yeah.
prototyping, and it comes, isn't it? Everyone has a different
Mm,
approaches, so there's not a right way or wrong way how you your
yeah.
creative process. Can you tell me more about where you, not telling you your procurement, not telling you all of your great secrets, but can you
Mm,
talk about a little bit more about, you know, where you get you know, how can I say this? You know, the inspiration for the beads. Like, do you go back to your own heritage and you say, okay, this is exactly what I want to, like, you know, pay homage to and get inspired by? So where do you look for yourself? Because Africa is such a big continent. It's not a country, it's a big continent. So how do you break it down?
So basically, my jewelry is inspired by like all the regions, so north, east, south, west. So that's how I've broken it down. So I've looked at beads and things and jewelry items from North Africa and looked at the influence and I mean, obviously there's all different cultures in North Africa as well. So I just had to narrow it down and pick the things that I like and that interest me, and see what I can basically how I can make my own version of that basically. And also the same with like East Africa. And I found that especially with the seed beads, those really colorful seed beads, there was lots of similarities between East and South Africa and the
Okay.
types of beads that they like to
Could you
use.
describe it? Could you describe the similarities?
Yeah, so they're basically in some tribes on East and South Africa, they like to use those seed beads, you know, those small like 2 millimeter beads that are really like vibrant in color. So I use them for waist beads and for anklets and things like that. So they usually the colors have like different meanings and different cultural aspects and things like that. So but yeah, so I did some research, broken it down north, east, south, west, and looked at each culture separately, and yeah, just looked at that for influence.
Okay. No, it sounds very intriguing because it's just like your work is so intricate as well. And I haven't met much jewelers who actually do waist beads and do anklets or even
Okay.
beading. Like I have, maybe it's just me and maybe I've gone into like the precious fine jewelry world. But could you tell me about, you know, the process of doing waist beads and measuring and making it right and how does it sit? Because I feel like, if I'm going to be honest,
Mm.
I have a bit of a muffin here and there, and I'm like, I want to wear waist beads, but how can I feel confident wearing waist beads?
Oh, you can. Like I get, because I make my waist beads to order, I get all kinds of different sizes. So I
Okay.
get from about 27 inch, like inch waist,
That's,
to like 40 plus.
okay.
So yeah, so what I do is I get my jewelry wire and I have the measurements down so people can choose how many inches, 27 inches or 20 or 30 inches, 32 inches, things like that. And basically, because my beads are patterned, it takes a long time. So it takes about half an hour or so to do a waist bead. So I basically thread the beads one at a time. And I just choose my pattern randomly, and I add a charm to it as well. So the same thing goes to for the anklets as well. So whichever size people want, I make them to order. So again, I just put the beads one by one because it has like a certain pattern and things like that. Um, and yeah, it does take time, but when I listen to my music and I'm doing the beading, you know, I'm in another world, so I don't mind.
Okay, so what type of music? Because I feel like sometimes it helps with the creativity and the flow. So what
Mm.
type of like music and gets you while you're doing it? Can you put that energy in?
Yeah, actually, like when I'm doing jewelry, I like to listen to like either calm or soothing music because if I feel like if I listen to like hype music, I might just be too, you know,
Yeah,
and I forget
like
about
miss
all
a
my
few
jewelry.
beats here and there, like you know. Okay, I
Yeah.
get you. Okay.
So usually I listen to like Stevie Wonder or like Marvin Gaye or something like that, something like smooth and calming, you know. Or I listen to like Brazilian jazz as well. Like I have a Brazilian jazz mix that I like to listen to. But yeah, I love listening to music to when I'm doing my jewelry because it keeps me inspired and it just I don't know, it just takes me to another world. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. And I see the danglingness. So what are you wearing right now?
Right now, so my earrings, I'm wearing my giraffe bone earrings. So it's made from dyed animal bone, and the attachment is like a brass fan type attachment. And I'm also wearing my ankh necklace, so my Egyptian ankh necklace.
Can you tell me a bit more about the ankh and what it symbolizes? Because I know that
Yeah,
my
so
parents love the ankhs.
oh, the ankh, really. Yeah, so basically, the ankh symbol, it originates from from Egypt, so from North Africa. So this has a North African type influence. And so they were usually the ankhs that I have are come in different colors, like silver, they come in gold. But the ankh symbol is like usually offered by gods and pharaohs, and it's like hieroglyphic symbol to signify life. So it's like basically it's almost similar to the cross, like the Christian cross, but it's a different type of so it's like the Egyptians version of it, and signifies life. Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Yeah, because my parents are Rastafarian, so a lot of
Mm.
like Ethiopian or African culture just seeps through. So Angs,
Yeah.
Nefertiti, have I said it right? Like all those
Mm.
symbols are
Nefertiti, yeah.
yeah, Pan-Africanism, all of that is in my house.
Yeah.
So in my mom's house. So it's just like, okay, I recognize these, but sometimes when you ask your parents or whatever, depending
Yeah.
what part of you're part of the African diaspora, they don't always explain the meanings. I'm just like, Mom, why this? Why we have this? She said, because it is. And I'm just like, that's not a great reason. I need to know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's really important. And I see some, I don't know, I don't want to offend, but I see some, would I say semi-political kind of pieces you have? Because I saw one with the fist and
Okay.
do you want to explain that piece?
Yeah, actually, I decided to add that piece to my jewelry just last year, actually, after everything happened with George Floyd and things like that. Because I was like, you know what? Actually, I took part in the BLM protest in London as well, and it was after that I was like, you know what? I want to add this to my shop, because obviously the connection to African history and African culture is not the same as some of my other pieces. However, in a way, it kind of is because
Is the African diaspora?
yeah,
You know, we have
yeah,
similar commonalities. You
yeah, we
know,
have ideal things,
we
yeah,
can't deny that. You know,
mm,
and we all came from Africa some way or
or
another.
another, yeah. And so I just felt that it's something that I should add because at that time it was more of a emotional decision, I would say. So, but yeah, I'm happy I added that.
Okay. Since we're talking about black, since everything's black, you know, I just feel like just black by default, just being black women or just black people, black origin, African diaspora. Um, how is it? Because sometimes I talk to people on the podcast from the US and the UK and different parts
Mm.
of Europe, but how is it being a black jeweler or a jeweler working in the UK?
Well, being a black jeweler, actually, one thing I did notice, or I have noticed, is so I've never gone to. Let me just say, I've never gone to a jeweler class or a jewelry making class or anything like that. Everything I've learned has been like on YouTube or just like a Google search or something like that.
Self-taught. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, self-taught. But I have noticed that at some markets, in certain areas, that if if you look different, they usually won't approach you, and they won't say, oh, what's your jewelry about, or oh, this is interesting. Usually they won't do that, and you can see that they're looking and they might want to approach, but I don't know what it is that they're thinking that makes them not actually approach. And I think there is almost like a click kind of thing when it comes to jewelry making and when it comes to selling at markets and things like that. And I feel like if you don't fit a certain aesthetic, then you might be treated slightly different. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So part of my roots was in the market. When people say be a jeweler, what do? Go to market, and markets are hard. I don't
They
understand.
are.
Like, I'm gonna try to breathe because they're hard, and it's weird because being a punter going to market, because people watching this all over the world. London market. Are we talking about London markets mainly? London.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
some of them are London. Some of them are like smaller villages types.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me break down for me my experiences about probably 8 years ago of
Mm.
London markets. I've done like Spitalfields, I've done the Greenwich, I've
Mm.
done Camden, I've done majority of the big markets. So I feel like in London there's like especially at the weekend, there's a market or street food culture, very prominent.
Yeah.
Probably not now because of COVID, but very, very prominent, right?
Mm.
So being a punter, being a normal customer, being someone in the market is two different experiences. I learned that quickly because before I did markets, I thought, oh, this is nice. Oh, ambience. Oh, have a chocolate here. Oh, everyone looks like, oh, the market traders are amazing. Oh, artisans. Oh, background noise. Oh, part of my Saturday and Sunday afternoon. But being in markets, you're there early, some like 6 to whatever, setting up takes ages to set up. And then you're there till about 7 or 8 o'clock. It takes ages to sit down, and you have to eat. And sometimes, you know, I don't depend on what market the person or the market owner or the gaffer, whatever you want to call them, they'll come early and like, can I have the money now? I haven't even sold anything yet before I pay you for the market store. Let it be like till midday, till lunchtime, till I pay you or something like that. And sometimes by the time you eat, by the time you do your travel, you're in not in debt, but you're in minus. And you're just praying, like, I need to break even at least. I need to pay at least for my lunch, my cup of tea. And sometimes, depending on your price point, it's really tricky because sometimes people who don't make jewelry or manufacture it from abroad, they come. So their stuff will be like under a fiver. Oh, that's a nice pair of earrings under a fiver. But when you handmade, you can't make things for under a fiver.
Yeah,
you know. And sometimes in markets, sometimes people don't appreciate the artisan of how long it takes to make something and putting a concept together. I'm not having to go at them. I'm not having to go at the lovely customers. It's just the quality of sometimes when you at market, it varies different. And sometimes just my experience being a Black woman on a market, I did have similar experiences to you. Like people won't come up and talk to you and they're like, oh, what's that? They're interested because you look different, but they don't want to come up. And I don't understand that either, that mystique. But they'll go to someone different, who are aesthetically different with dainty jewelry and like, oh, touch, oh, wet, that's nice. So it's just like, I don't know. That's something needs to be investigated. Like, what is different from someone coming and having a chat about your jewelry? I don't know. I never thought about that until about a while ago. I never thought about that. So thank you for reliving my my market life and market PDSED or something like that. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. Okay, so we talked about your materials. We talked about how you put your collections together. What other so it's really good that that you were self-taught. You're really promoting African culture and the African diaspora. I just want you to talk about anklets because I never talk about anklets before. I feel like summer is coming now by the time, especially when this is out. So why does the modern woman or whoever or guy, because you do for men and women, wear anklet?
Well, I don't know, like the modern, it's different. The cultural aspect that I think about sometimes is different to how people wear it now. I think people wear it now because it just looks cool and it looks nice, especially like if you're wearing nice shoes to go with it. So when you're wearing an anklet, it's always good to wear it with like either like a nice heel or like you have nice shoes or nice trainers as well. But I'd make beaded anklets and chain anklets also made to measure. But like the cultural aspect, like they're worn all over Africa, and sometimes they're worn. Also, they're worn in lots of parts of Asia as well, like in India, for example, and they're worn by like cultural dancers usually whilst they perform, and they come in like different colors, different materials and different styles and things like that. Some of them, especially with the ones with the dancers wear, that come with bells attached to it, and it is quite a feminine type jewelry, but obviously it can be worn by anyone who wants to. And they all can be, they were also gifted by men sometimes as like a symbol of love as well.
Okay, so it's like an engagement ring. You can put it
Yeah.
on your ankle. You don't have to wear the ring, or you can
Yeah.
have some type of ring on your foot. Okay, great. So that's really helpful to know the origins, isn't it? Because sometimes when people have an engagement ring, it's like, I think, it shows, if you wear it on your left hand side, it symbolizes the vein to your heart, and all that kind of things. And if someone's investing in jewelry, which is very emotive and symbolic, it's great to know the meaning. And I think you pack a lot into your jewelry. Okay. So I usually finish the podcast is just talking about what is the best testimonials, or what is the best feedback someone gives you about your jewelry. So what would you like to talk about?
Well, actually, there was someone who messaged me. She bought jewelry. She bought a piece of jewelry from me last year, and she messaged me about 3 or 4 months afterwards, and she was just saying how happy she was receiving the jewelry, and because she was going through quite a difficult time, she was quite unwell at that time, and she said that it's so lovely that she wears it every day and it puts a smile on her face. And she said, "Oh, I really wanted to give you a 5-star review, but I think I left it too late." But she said she wants to buy some more from me, and that then she will leave a good review. But that was actually on my Etsy website, and not on my, yeah. So that was on my Etsy shop. I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was just really nice to see. Like, it's always nice to see when someone is like happy receiving your jewelry, or they really love it, and not just the jewelry, but also like your customer service and the packaging. And because I always write a thank you note, so I always write a note to the customers. So
That's really nice. That's a very personal touch.
yeah, I put a thank you note and a little sweet as well.
Yeah, because I saw some of your reviews. Maybe I should do that. But you should. Yes. Thank you for the extra sweet. So it just shows the care and customer service, what you have and how much you care. Because people don't realize when you support independent jewelers, you're really helping them. And it's having that gratitude, someone to say to you, "I really like your stuff. I really love your stuff." It's very heartwarming, because sometimes you work in isolation and you don't have that contact, especially now with COVID and stuff, when things are more online now. Sometimes you can get that feedback through markets, which is quite helpful. But it's just very heartwarming. It's great to hear that. So tell the listeners and the viewers, where can we see your greatness and your jewelry?
Okay, so my website is roccajewellery.com. That's ROCCIA and then jewelry.com. I ship worldwide, and it is free UK shipping, so anyone can buy. I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, all the good stuff. And it's just normal at Roccia Jewellery on all of those social media platforms. And also, I'm going to start a YouTube channel called Jeweller in the Making, which is basically my journey in like becoming a jeweler and learning new skills, learning things for the first time, sorry, and also teaching others what I've learned, and also my business journey as well. So it's going to be a mix of things, but I'm excited.
Hey, perfect. No, this is really, really good. I'm very, very excited to see this, and sharing your greatness online and reaching others in different ways, because sometimes not saying nothing wrong with markets or shows, because I love it, because you get that interaction and you get that, you can get that connection. But exploring different ways, having a blend seems to be the way to go. So I'm really excited to see your YouTube channel. Is it out yet?
Not yet.
Put it in a look. Okay, let me know hopefully when this is out. in the
Yeah.
universe, we'll put in the show notes and get people
Okay.
to follow and support what you do, because I feel like, you know, with Black jewelers or any jewelers, we need a lot of support. You know,
Yeah.
I think jewelers in this country, UK, are not as revered, but I think it's changing now. Something's changed. There's like a TV program everyone's hyped about jewelers. Because when I visit other places like Scandinavia, you know, they really regard their jewelers like they really put them on the map. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a change now. So very exciting to see. Okay, great. So this is the Creative For You podcast. I had Jessica Cole here with her jewelry brand, and this is Cassandra Lauren Gordon, your host for the Creative For You podcast.